You have no idea what you're talking about. Second point is, Canadians wait the longest time in OECD countries for approval of medications, which you clearly have no clue about. We're back to that again. Sadly, the last time you were here, you had no clue, and you remain clueless, obviously.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron here, Canadian Looney. In this committee video, we have Minister of Health Mark Holland, who is an absolute clown, getting schooled by Dr. Stephen Ellis, an MP from Nova Scotia here. He's a family doctor. Holland's from Alberta. Dirty business, right? Anyways, let's take a look at this committee video. Always something interesting in committee. Let's take a peek. Mark Holland is a clown, Minister of Health. What a dork.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Minister. You know, back in 2017, Minister, the United States raised questions about the Chinese Ministry of Defense's Academy of Military and Medical Sciences Institute of Microbiology and Epidemiology, saying that they were a risk of potential biological weapon capabilities. Doesn't that fly in the face of you saying that we had a great relationship with China then?
I don't recall having said we had a great relationship. I said that there were, at that point in time, emergent concerns, certainly around the way in which China was engaging itself internationally. There were some early warning signals that things were beginning to turn in a bad way. But I would say that the management of risk, in particular when we're talking about deadly pathogens and trying to find answers, that at that moment in time, thinking that, that you would use information around therapies and vaccines to try to use them for some sort of geopolitical military purpose, that was a different dimension at that moment in time.
But realistically, Minister, I mean, clearly the United States identified that they were talking about small-scale offensive biological weapons program.
Well,
So
at that moment in time,
you think about it, you've talked a lot about Ebola. Wouldn't you use Ebola to do that? Wouldn't that be a great pathogen to do it?
well, no, actually, what I would say is that the international cooperation.
You're
You're not letting me finish my sentence. What I'm saying is that. What I'm attempting to answer. So what I'm saying is that international collaboration at that moment in time with respect to Ebola and any number of other pathogens that was happening at an international stage. But China represents 1 billion people. It has an enormous wealth of knowledge and information.
I don't know about China.
And well, no, but we wanted them to be part of that solution.
Don't you think that's dangerous?
I think it's dangerous to give up on collaboration with 1 billion people. Unfortunately, we had to do that because the threat environment evolved.
So even though we have scientists sending a potentially weaponized virus to a power that's going to make biological weapons, clearly, you think that's
Ebola,
okay? So
no,
that's
I think Ebola exists today as a deadly pathogen.
Is that okay with you, or is it not?
Ebola exists and is easily found in there's outbreaks all over the world.
That's not true, Minister, because
there are outbreaks all over the world, and China's objective was to.
Excuse me.
Well, I don't know if you want me to answer or not. I guess that's up to you.
At the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they didn't have Ebola until the scientists at the National Microbiology Lab sent it to them.
There are regular outbreaks. There have been regular outbreaks over the last 20 years of Ebola.
Did they have it in Wuhan before it was sent from Canada or not?
Mark Holland is a clown, Minister of Health. What a dork.
It's absolutely disgraceful.
No, what is disgraceful is mischaracterizing my position or mischaracterizing the position of any member of Parliament, sir. Saying that any member of Parliament doesn't care about any human life is a disgraceful thing that I will not tolerate.
Well,
and for you to step into this committee and make an accusation of any member of Parliament that they do not care about the life of another human being is absolutely beyond reproach, sir.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, good news, kids. You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks, and the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron, right here, Question Period Canada. We've got an incredible video to show. Mark Holland is a clown, Minister of Health. What a dork.
Down this road before with you, and I guess let's start with some simple questions. You like to use some very emotionally charged language. How many Canadians don't have a family doctor? Just a number. Simple.
Well, according to the most recent report that was just released by CRIITIC, It depends on province. So you say Ontario is at 88% who do.
Just the number.
The lowest province about 79%. Territories are lower, particularly Nunavut being the lowest.
Minister, I'm going to interrupt you because, again, you and I have gone down this road many times, and you said you've read the report. How many? I'll say it perhaps slowly and clearer for you. How many Canadians
across the country? It's known to be about 82% have.
Excuse me, Minister.
Okay.
Don't interrupt me. This is not your time for questions. You'll have lots of time when you're in opposition to ask questions, if you so desire, or if you're able to keep your seat. That being said, how many Canadians don't have access to primary care in Canada? Just the number.
It's estimated at 6.5 million.
Actually, if you read the CRIITIC report, it says 5.4 million adults, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So tell me this, is that number going up or going down?
In every province and every territory, with I believe one exception, that the access to doctor is improving. There's been more doctors added, more nurses added. That's in the baseline CRIITIC report, so that's actually before our investment
again,
of $200 billion.
I don't think that's what I asked you, is the number of Canadians who do not have access to a primary care physician going up or going down? Access
is going up. That in the baseline report, we see every province and every territory access to more doctors, more nurses in almost every jurisdiction. That's a baseline report. That is before the interventions of our signed agreements with every province, every territory, $200 billion being applied.
But we know
and I
very
can talk
clearly,
about all the different ways that we're improving that circumstance, but conservative cuts certainly aren't going to help.
You know, again, if you don't want to be respectful, why do you even bother coming here?
I'm sorry, I don't find your questions or your demeanor respectful, so I don't know why I should reciprocate something that is not extended.
Point of order, Speaker.
These conservatives and liberals do not like each other. You can tell in committee, guys. The committee meetings are just about as dysfunctional as question period is. It's a pageant, but my goodness, it's exciting every time.
Thank you, Chair. If I might remind you, Minister, I'm the one asking the questions, and if I have a question for you, as per the part of this committee, you need to answer it. The second part that we need to get to clearly is that this particular program that you have has a lack of safeguards. Substance use disorders and mental illness, post-traumatic stress disorder, which your government has offered to veterans as a mental illness, as is autism. How are you going to square your circle with respect to irremediability with those illnesses?
Well, I think, first of all, I guess we just have different purposes in discourse. You know, I ask questions for seeking clarity and to get on the same page. We're trying to deal with a very difficult issue. When you're asking me the question about irremediability, I'm trying to say that if somebody has an irremediable condition, and we're talking here about not some other disease, we're talking about mental illness, somebody who's trapped in it. And I would ask you the question. I mean, and you say you don't want me to ask questions. My purpose of my question isn't a political point. It's one of clarity. If somebody is in a situation for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, at what point, when they themselves are the ones asking for relief and are saying that they are in an irremediable condition?
Irremediability, though, you continue to say you need to get systems ready. Irremediability is something that you can't prove. You can't make a system to prove irremediability. It's an impossibility. That's a clinical judgment by a clinician in front of that patient. It doesn't matter what you change the system to, you're never going to get to the point of irremediability. We've heard from multiple experts that they are the ones that making that decision around irremediability, not a system.
Well, what I'm saying is that, and this is why I posed the question, because I think it's important for clarity. If you have somebody who is trapped in mental health that is saying that they want to end their life, and they say that for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they've attempted all therapy, they've attempted everything in their disposal, at what point do you feel that they have autonomy over that decision? If the answer is never, well, then that's an ideological position. And I can't really have, I mean, there's not a lot further to go. But if the point is that somebody at a certain point of suffering has an opportunity to have autonomy over their own life, then, you know, that's an important debate and one that is not rooted in ideology.
You know, in respect of them, that we keep things, you know, orderly.
Yeah, maybe if the minister would answer the question. So we'll move on from there. I guess that's the question that we'll leave. You know, are there other 1,000 Talents program scientists working in other Canadian labs run by the Canadian government?
None that we are aware of, no. And I can say that with respect to, there's no weaponization. No, I appreciate that answer.
Trudeau's leadership won't be settled until there's a secret ballot.
Well, I mean, you know, everybody's got an opinion. That's what makes our party great. That's what makes democracy great. Our job always in government is to build consensus and to build towards getting people on the same page.
Gang, a little bit of back and forth action from the House of Commons floor question period. Let's take a peek.
Speaker, last week the health minister went into a wacko rant accusing parents who take their kids on a road trip of locking them up in a car for 10 days straight without a washroom break, causing the whole world to burn. Unbelievable. All because we proposed that the government take taxes off gas so that Canadians could have a summer break. Will this health minister break into the same hysteria over his boss's use of a gas-guzzling private jet to vacation all around the world?
Not only cut child care, not only cut pharmacare, but end our climate action and return to the days when the Conservative Party would go into climate conferences and attack the...
Like and subscribe. Get your Canadian federal politics right here.
And you know, again, maybe the second Jeopardy question that you seem to love, how many Canadians are visiting food banks on a regular basis?
Well, far too many. I mean, I think the question I would pose to you is...
No, you're not asking me questions.
Sure I can. I mean, that's absolutely my prerogative. You don't have the opportunity in a democracy to tell me what I can and can't do, Mr. Ellis. You cannot like it. But I'm saying that I just spent 5 minutes talking about solutions. So do you want to talk about solutions to the issue that you just raised, or do you want to just play this game where you're now going to say some statistic? Because I'm not interested in that, to be honest.
As a matter of fact, Minister, I know that you don't know the answers because we've well established that. Or you're too embarrassed to say that 2 million Canadians access food banks on a regular basis because of your government's reckless spending.
I think it's reciprocal, quite frankly, and it's too bad. The witness merits respect, as does the person posing the question, and why don't we treat everyone with respect around here, please? I wouldn't pin it on one side or the other based on what I've heard so far. Did you have something you want to say, Minister?
My reflection was simply that if I'm attacked and treated in the way that I am, I'm going to respond. And absolutely, I'm here to answer questions.
Okay,
but I would suggest, Mr. Chair, that perhaps we could start with things germane to this bill,
Chair.
and perhaps in a way that's conducive to finding solutions.
Who controls this committee? Is it you, Chair, or is it the Minister?
Please, Dr. Ellis, the Minister has the floor.
It's ridiculous.
The Minister has the floor.
Ridiculous.
I do not. I can tell you that and look, I was in opposition. I've been in the position that they are in, where you ask questions.
Okay.
And I am saying that there's not only is the conversation not relevant, but I don't think that it's at all respectful.
Thank you, Minister.
Mark Holland won't be straight giving these answers. Other Liberals come to his defense with points of order, trying to delay the meeting, which they do.
Point of order, Speaker.
Point of order, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm patiently listening to Mr. Ellis's questioning, and I'm failing to see any relevance to the topic in hand, which is this particular bill dealing with natural health products. So unless he's got a long-winded way of getting to the presentation that we heard and the bill that we are reviewing, like him to focus on the bill that we're talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's valid. I'm not sure that there's a connection between access to family doctors and this private member's bill. This is not an examination of estimates where it's much more wide open.
All right, gang, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Mark Holland is a clown. Dr. Stephen Ellis can certainly handle his own. Like, subscribe, share, get notified, all those fun things. I love the comments. It's important to subscribe so you find it when the videos come out. That's it. Aaron, Canadian Looney. We'll catch you in the next video. Thank you a lot for watching this one.
I think our leader, Trudeau, I don't think I've ever heard him say a true word.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
I know this place is where I am.
Check this out. Where's Randy, guys? Look up. Is he up there? You up there blowing a squirrel, Randy? We're gonna take a stroll up. So, what do you think Hey gang, Aaron right here, Canadian Looney.